and I ended up going to a juvenile prison. And then when I turned 18, I went to adult prison. I spent many years in prison, approximately 8. Now, the freedom of getting out of prison versus the freedom I have today, two different freedoms.
Who are you?
I am Jimmy Fontana.
And how long have you been in recovery, Jimmy?
Since January the 11th of 2022, so right at 2.5 years.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you, Raj.
How long have you been graduated out of recovery resources?
A year and a couple months.
And you still come around all the time?
Oh yeah, they won't get rid of me.
So we'd interviewed you before, and for me, I felt like the quality wasn't where I wanted it to be as far as where I'm concerned, not where you're concerned. But also, when I was going back and I was editing it, you touched on some things that I wanted to sit back down with you again and talk about, if that's all right.
Sure.
Mainly being that because of your history with incarceration wise, and that's of course of a lot of us do, but you had spoke about how that lifestyle had molded you, and you articulated it so well that I would like you to expand upon that if you would somewhat. But just to be, of course, today we're at Independence Day celebration for the cookout and bouncy house. We got all the things for the kids and stuff, but I would like for you to expand upon what freedom is to you.
When I was a kid, I hung around all older kids, or adults really, from like maybe 11, 12 to till I was in my late teens and went to prison myself. But all of my friends or associates then had been to prison. They were drug dealers, they were criminals. And those were the ones who I looked up to. So at an early age, I knew that I would probably go to prison. And I ended up going to a juvenile prison. And then when I turned 18, I went to adult prison. I spent many years in prison, approximately 8. Now, the freedom of getting out of prison versus the freedom I have today, two different freedoms. Because even though I would get free and I would get out of prison, I was still, I wasn't free at all. It wasn't until I came up here to Johnson City, I went through Magnolia Ridge. I started working the program out of the big book. And it was only through that process, through working the program in its entirety with service work, and I'm a product of good sponsorship. And through that process, I've been able to make a connection with God and experience true freedom.
Something outside of yourself, obviously.
What was that, right?
Something outside of yourself, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I am just like you in that way. I've spent many years in that way. And I know from my experience, which is less than yours, but that molded me and shaped me. Like, do you remember any moments while you were incarcerated that you felt yourself, that when you left, you weren't going to be the same person as the guy that went in?
Sure. There are prisons within inside the prison. And for the people who are, prisons are already full of violent people. And for the violent, among the violent, they have a special place for you. Maximum security, solitary confinement, the shoe, whatever people call it. And I can remember having to spend so long in a little cell by myself, and just to go to the shower, I had to back up, put my hands through the tray flap, they handcuffed me, walk backwards out through the cell, be escorted to a shower and locked in it, and bathe there, and get back out whenever they come and get me. And I can remember having to go through that, and not just there in prison, but in different places. I had to spend a lot of time in solitary confinement, and that really takes a toll on you.
Somebody get this shit off his door. Oh, my bad.
You're good. So, being in that, what do you feel like is the hardest thing you had to deal with being incarcerated?
The last time I was incarcerated, I spent 16 months in the county jail, and it was by far the hardest time that I ever did. I lost everything while I was there. I lost the home that I lived in, the vehicle that I was driving. The mother of my daughter, DCS, went into the home and took her and put her in the state's custody. And I was going crazy. And then because I was so hurt and angry, I was aggressive and violent. So that I ended up on maximum security there, and I was in a cell probably, maybe I might have got out an hour a week or something. I was just so angry I didn't even want the hour out. So I would bathe in my cell. They had me in a cell with a camera on me, and I was I was just hurting and angry. So I was mean and aggressive, and I would do things to just try to be spiteful. You know, never let the cell, bathe in the cell. I didn't talk to anybody like I show them. Yeah.
How is, if it has, but how is your perception of freedom of that? Like, obviously not taking it for granted, but how has that changed as of today?
Well, today, the possibility of being back there is practically, it's not non-existent, but it's pretty dang close. I'm not a criminal today. I don't have to worry about going to jail. I don't commit crimes. So today is like, it's a different kind of freedom that I get today. And just having not just my life being better, but having a whole new life. Sometimes I'll just be riding in my car and I just start crying because my life is so good. And I'm wondering, like, you know, I buried my sisters, my mama, my brother-in-law, a little 18-year-old nephew. Like, you know, a lot of people here in the community, they know people that have died, and everyone does. But like, it's really hit my family, my immediate family. Man, and oftentimes I wonder and be in prayer of like, why not me? Right? All my other family members are dead or out there, they're in prison or they're on the streets and pretty close to death right now. Why do I get saved? You know? And the only thing that I can come up with is God somehow thinks that maybe I can be useful to help his kids, and that's what I try to do to the best of my ability every day.
I think you embody that.
I think due to the pain that I've had to suffer, makes the gratitude that I have for my life today exponentially bigger. Because I've had to go through a lot and been through a lot, and I have had a lot of people around me that are not here anymore. Yeah, none of my family or friends or nobody from where I come from, nobody is. I'm the only one that's sober and free and happy today, you know? And it's sad, but at the same time, I'm exceptionally grateful. And I try to show them with my actions that there is another way.
Absolutely. What are you most excited for in your life today?
Several things. Number one, being a father. Because all my life, not all my life, but since I had a child, my first child, I always had a desire to be a good dad. But I wasn't capable at that time of carrying that out. And no matter how much I desired to, I would always fall short. I would always go back to prison. I would abandon her in some way, put her in traumatic events and things like that. And today I get to be a present father. I get to be a good dad. And man, that means so much to me. Because all my life, that's what I want. I said, no matter what, Jimmy, be a good father. And today I get to be that good dad. And the connections that I have with people and with God, those really first. And then, of course, the dad, being able to be a present father. And I have a newborn son. Well, not new, he's a year old now. Or he'll be a year old in 4 days. And man, he's a wonderful little fella. And I'm grateful to he never has to see the old Jimmy. He doesn't have to know who I used to be. He gets to just see me who I am today. And man, that's great.
It is. I know it is.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to know you, and I'm so very thankful to get to walk beside you and just exist while you do, man. I love you so much.
Ditto, Roger. I love you
Thank
as
you
well.
for doing this.
You're very welcome.